Good morning, everyone. If you could grab a seat, we're going to get started very shortly. So find a seat, we'll get started in a minute or so. Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Sweet. Good morning, everyone. My name's Lindsay. I'll be emceeing our first session today. I got a little bit of housekeeping I've got to get through to start with, so let me just read through this. So it's a non-smoking building, and the designated smoking area is on the external terraces for anyone that needs it. Restrooms are out in the foyers for anyone that needs toilets. Emergency exits, follow the doors and the signs, and the lovely staff here, and they'll take us to where we need to go. The emergency tone goes beep, 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 or whoop, whoop, whoop. So they're the two sounds to look forward to. My notes say here to remain calm and evacuate accordingly. So keep that in mind. And the evacuation area is out the front of the Star Casino, which is across the road. All right, that's our housekeeping done. Tick. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see so many beautiful faces here on Kumbermeri country, here on the Gold Coast. As I said, my name's Lindsay. I'm lucky enough to call the Gold Coast home, so I didn't have to travel very far. But I know a lot of people have travelled far, and big ups, big props to all of you guys that have travelled far and showed up on a Sunday as well. Sundays are often, a nice chill day, so it's cool that we get to come here and connect all together, spend some awesome time to, bring some thoughts in and share in such a beautiful space. To start today, I'd like to welcome my brother Max Dillon up here to do a beautiful welcome for us. So let's give Max a nice warm welcome, eh? You right with that? There's little handhelds if you want a handheld. Would you rather a handheld?
Thank you, everybody. Dalian Kayala Bagel Nayanga. That's good wishes today under the sun. That's our Kumbermeri blessing. My name is Max Dillon. My tribal name is Gurpe Giraman Galeen Kumbermeri Nunakul. My people been here around 60,000 years, they say. But old Pop used to say, my old granddad would say, you can't put a time on the dream time. How long's a piece of string? So I was very blessed to be here with you, mob. My Kumbermeri people, our boundaries, they go from the Coomera River in the north, down to the Tweed River in the south, to the foothills in the west, all on the coastline. We are saltwater people, been managing our estate here for a very long time sustainably, and that's in our core values. We care for country, sacred sites. Even now we pick up the rubbish and do our little part wherever we can. That's our core values. I'm a native beekeeper. Gurpe, that's my granddad gave me the name, little bee, like Melissa here in Greek, bee. We got that connection. But the little native bee, and that's what I decided to do, was living up. I started here at the Gold Coast Convention Centre when I was 16. I left school and I started here as a chippy building this place. But I fell out of love with building. Now I just build little bee boxes. That's my passion, little bees. I want to tell you all here something, the very first dreaming story, the origin, if you will, of the Kumbermeri people, who we are and how we started, the very first dreaming story. This place here was unbroken sand dunes, as far as the eye can see. And the first visitor, his name was Jabreen, dreaming giant. He wasn't just any regular fella, he was the author, the god of the dreaming. He stepped out of the black hole in the Milky Way. He come down here and he seen this beautiful unbroken sand dunes. So he decided he was going to pick up his waddy out of the earth, his magic waddy, and when he picked it up, created a big crater, and that became the law, the first bore ring for men's ceremony. And he threw it out like a burragun, like a boomerang. And as it went around, the hinterland, the estuaries, coastlines, the river systems, the trees, the boundaries, everything was created in its wake as it flew around. And he'd seen that he'd created. He decided he was going to go look for a feed. Now, we're a saltwater people, and you think, oh, well, saltwater people, your first thing that must have been feasted on country must have been fish, julum, crab, jubal, caningra, oyster, crab, those type of things. Nope. The first thing that was feasted on country was the sugar bag honey, the little native bee honey, nectar of the gods. And he gorged himself with the native honey, and he got sticky all over his body. And he decided, well, I better have a wash it off. So he swam out to the horizon along the coast, washed himself off. And when he come back in, he got tired and he rested. And he sat down in the women's site, the most sacred site on country, grew up around him and become Jalurgal, place of honey, place of dreaming, and the resting place of Jabreen, the god. And his fingers, from the lookout, stick out like this. You can see his hands. And up there, that's where the women would have the babies. Jabreen's hands. Isn't that beautiful? So that's our origin story. And where the seed, people ask me all the time about calendars, Indigenous calendar, and I say to them, it all starts with the bees. That's where everything starts. And look what's flowering, what's taking place. When the bees are active, buzzing around, let's go for a look. Smell the honey. And I wanted to share with you a little something. I got my Biriamundu, my Yadaki. This is the earth serpent. Very special earth serpent. This is my didge. And Biriamundu in our language is to throw sound from wood. We'll say the little termites, they go up there and hollow it out, but sometimes the little bees look for a home there before we get there, and they rush in and beat us to it. And we use that wax too on our mouthpieces. Now this one here, I call this one travel ditch. Have a look at this. Yeah, like that is. I got that on Marketplace, $50. That's a good one, that one. When we got to walk somewhere up a mountain, or I take that one because it's light. And this one here, I actually traded these for a jar of sugar bag honey with my brother Michael Watergate. He makes shields and boomerangs and all different types of artifacts. He makes these. He said, "Here, brother, I got some Gidgee timber." I said, "Gidgee? Oh, that's deadly timber because it's hard to get." He said, "You never guess where I found it." I said, "Where?" He said, "Bunnings." So that was special. But yeah, I traded him for these yabba-yabbas, these clapsticks. But just wanted to share that with you. Now I'm going to play some Biriamundu. Also, just let me say this again. Kayala, Nully in Kayala Bagel, Nyanga. Now, just everyone, if you want to place your hand just over your heart as a sign of this offering of this welcome and this peace, because it's a blessing here on country. As you walk on my country, I want you to be blessed. I want you to feel the blessing from the old people as they guiding you here. And that's what I ask, the old people to come and guide you, because you are very important people looking after country. And it goes back to how we lived. And I see you, everyone here, and you are very much a blessing to us here. And so, thank you all for treading lightly. That's very important, treading lightly. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Because he's a kindred spirits to us and our walk and our way of life, looking after country. So it's a pleasure blessing you people, and I'll be back tomorrow and we'll connect some more. Thank you for having me up here. Thank you, everybody.
Deadly, brother. Thank you for that. One big round of applause again for Max. That was deadly, eh? Now, it's often missed in a welcome. Culturally, we get taught. So I'm a Guamu Kuma man. My mob's from out in southwest Queensland near Cunnamulla, about 10 hours west from here if you drove. But culturally with the welcome, what's often missed is the fact that we get welcomed in, but no one ever actually receives that. So I'd like to say to Max, on behalf of us all here, thank you, brother. We receive your welcome. We're going to walk softly and gently on your country and honour your law, honour your spirits as we would in our own house. It's like someone's welcomed you into your house. You don't just walk in the front door and not say, thanks for letting me in, you know? So I return that welcome with a thank you. What was I going to talk to? We're here today for the Landcare NextGen Summit. Youth, young people, we're the drivers, we're the movers and shakers, we're the people in all of our spaces that come in staunch, come in strong, and represent. I was very privileged earlier this year to represent Australian First Nations youth at the United Nations. I was there and took some of the issues that our young people are facing here to the world stage. And just like in this room, our young people are the ones globally that are pushing for change and the ones that are leading the way, elevating our systems and disrupting in ways that we haven't seen before. So I want to give a shout out to all our youth in the room. We're going to be staunch. We've got, a lot of really hard work to do, but that's why we're here, right? We're here to put in the hard yards and make all the good stuff happen. I've got some acknowledgements that I've got to do as well. So I'd like to acknowledge the team from the Victorian Government, the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action, who are our sponsors for today's event. So we might give them a little cheer. Shout out to those guys. The team from the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestries, the sponsors of the National Landcare Conference and the awards. And we've got some very special guests who we'll be hearing from later that we're going to give a little acknowledgement to now because we appreciate their time. Landcare Australia's Doug Human. Shout out to Doug. And the very special Costa, who we'll be hearing from in a little bit. So thanks for being with us today, Costa. Alrighty, to start, I think we might jump into Costa. We might invite you up for a little yarn there, brother. You ready to have a yarn? Yeah. Awesome. That works. Awesome. Let's give Costa a big round of applause.
Lindsay, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Couldn't be a better guide for this wonderful event that's been put together for today. Wow, I echo your sentiments about Max. What a storyteller to start this event with. A story from this soil, story from this land. Storytelling, we heard with not just heart, but an angle. And that's ultimately what each and every one of you are doing. And whether that's in the banner of the awesome Intrepid, or whether it's Coexist, or whether it's Landcare, or whether it's a network, or whatever it is, you're telling a story. And I think today, the bit that matters the most is that this was an idea. It was like, well, where are we bringing the youth into Landcare? At a conference a few conferences ago, and it was like, we need to make a little line in the sand and say, let's change. And those were ideas. That was a story that was sown. That was a seed that was put in the ground. And it went to an online event, which went out there a couple of years ago now. seed has grown, and that turned into a steering committee. The steering committee, I like this. This was my image of the steering committee. Because it's like a bus. and we're steering the way. And it's the youth that were given a bus and saying, let's steer the way. Let's lead the way. Not just, oh, well, there you go, fix it. It was like, no, let's create a committee. So whether you're on the back seat, a middle seat, a window seat, looking out that way, doesn't really matter because you're on the bus. And your ideas matter because as a collective, a bus can go places. As individuals, we bring ideas to the bus. As a collective, the bus moves. And the bus suddenly creates an event like this, which is part of the bigger banner of Landcare, which is saying we are youth, but we need to be careful about titles too, because this is younger and older. But anyone in this room, and what I love about what I see in this room, is it's not just a bubble. Anyone who's not directly connected to Intrepid, anyone who's not part of an age bracket, they were all youth. They were all NextGeners. And any idea that they bring or have is still a NextGen idea because it's new and it hasn't been done before. And so I love the fact that this is a diverse, broad, mixed range of age. Age is so relative. What matters is now. Today we're here. And I want to say a big thanks to this busload, this steering committee, for what you've done. Because we're here. You've created, through your preparation, your organisation, you've created a safe place for all these people to come and commingle, to bring all of these people together. And just being here, I think we need to recognise this. And I know you're sitting down, but sit centred. Get your posture in the moment. Because this moment is special. And I'm not talking this up. Think about the effort that's gone to bring everyone into this room. Not just from the steering and the organisational side, but just your personal and individual sides. People are coming from Brabant, people are coming from... I like to get on side with the sound people. Sorry about that. People have come from a long way. That's effort, but that effort suggests intent. And that intent has been given a really comfortable place to sit and to talk and to share. And it's a window of time. I was thinking about this when I arrived and, I got on the plane and there's the Landcare of the Year for a couple of years ago, Bruce sitting right behind me, and you just go, we're all coming together for this moment, and it's a chance to be open, to observe, to actually really listen. Not just listen for what you want to hear, listen for what's being said, and absorb it without judgment. Just because it's new, it can sometimes elicit fear. Where's the emergency exit? I'm not ready for that. But just absorb it without judgment. And that's not necessarily easy in today's climate because everything's about quick reaction. Whoa, get behind the keyboard and blow up. Whoa. There's so much contested in the world today. And people's patience is non-existent. Whereas what an atmosphere we have here, prepared by many people for us to enjoy this moment. And I'd say on that note, we don't have to fill the space. Just let it happen. And don't consider everything as, oh yeah, I've got that. Oh, I've heard that. Oh, that's, yeah, I know where they're coming from. No, actually allow the space to be a room, to breathe, and let the unexpected in. We can't let the unexpected in if we just hold definitions and lanes. Breathe. Immerse in the usefulness of the void without reaction. You're supposed to be here. And you're supposed to be here. I'm not just saying it, you are. It's not esoteric, it's not over the top. You're supposed to be here because you are here. And you're here because of all this effort. Collectively, the sum of the parts pales next to what you and all of us can incubate into action because of today. Within your groups, within your world, within your ideas, mayhem of the possible. And it made me think about a quote. Do you know the wonderful writer, Tyson Young Porter, Sand Talk, how Indigenous thinking can save the world? He said this: somewhere between action and reaction is an interaction. It's just an interaction. That interaction can't happen if we're not face to face. That's what I really love. In a world today where it's isolation and screens, and I was talking to a few people earlier, this is what it's about today, and tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. Make the most of being face to face, and enjoy that space between morning tea and afternoon tea, and today and tomorrow, and dinner and lunch, and like enjoy these spaces, because you can do as much for the steering committee in those spaces as we can do with a keynote. Right? So, interaction, and this is the best bit of this quote, is an interaction that is where all the fun lies. The fun. So look around the room. Let's breathe life into the theme. Share, inspire, and connect. We're here. The void is here. Dive in. The last piece on the bus, the My Pledge. Drink deeply of what's written there. When we make a pledge, that's with those that means something to us. When we make a pledge as a group and as an individual, we can be accountable. This is one of the most beautiful things. And they're going to go way beyond this conference. These pledges are going to be delivered. But for the time being, think about your pledge and think about what a pledge means from the heart, and dive into that as well. Thanks everyone. Have an awesome day.
One more round of applause for Costa. Come on, Mike. One of the great storytellers, not just in Australia, happily can say worldwide, I think. Not often would you get a keynote speech with a bus and some up-close and personal crowd work thrown in there as well. Well done there, my brother. And I love that, echoing that like whole point of connection, right? We were saying before that like some of the crew that I'd met on like Teams and whatnot, like you have yarns over there and it's like, oh yeah, all goods, I know who this person is. But you see him in person and like within 5 seconds, there's like this wealth of relationship. And it's like, oh my God, this is the good stuff, right? This is why we're human. We're not designed to be behind a screen. We're designed to be face to face. So embrace those moments today and come at it with the notion of a real empty cup, right? Every one of you in this room has something to learn, and every one of us is a teacher in the same way. If you come in with a nice empty cup, we're going to be able to fill it up with all the good stuff. If your cup's already full or you think that you know everything, then where's that knowledge going? It's not going to you, so oh well. So yeah, empty cup. With that, I'd like to invite our next speaker to the stage. He's a young fella. Beforehand, I was having a yarn and I was like, brother, give me something cool to like a little fun fact to intro you up. and he said, oh, no, like, you know, just do your thing. I'm like, well, I need something here, brother. Work with me. And he was like, well, the only fun fact I've got is that I'm single. So he said he was going to sue me for that, but I had to drop it now. Please give a warm welcome to Kurt Jones.
G'day guys and welcome. I think today will probably be one of the most significant days that the Landcare community has seen around youth engagement. And I'm excited for what today will bring, not just throughout the sessions, but also for the future to come. Right across the country, thousands of Landcare and conservation organisations are struggling to engage young people. But if you open Instagram, the environment is one of the biggest concerns of youth today. So why are we not seeing that passion translated into community action? We're in a pivotal time. Right across the world, we're facing so many environmental challenges, and it's us that need to step up and ensure that the next generation is equipped and empowered to lead the way in protecting our planet. My name's Kurt Jones. I'm 21 from the Sunshine Coast, and I'm the founder of Coexist. We're a national youth conservation community across the country. Today, I want to share with you a little bit about my story, the journey that I've been on for the last 5 years, and a journey that so many have joined me in. But first, I want to take you back a little bit. So 5 years ago, I was in grade 11. Throughout school, primary, very heavily disengaged, and I was ended up enrolled in a school for at-risk kids. And throughout lots of camps, hiking wilderness, canoeing rivers, I found my passion. I found my place in society. And it was outside in nature with mates and the community. And I knew from that point that the path ahead for me was protecting the places that I loved. Years went on. In grade 9, I got heavily involved in community conservation volunteering, wildlife rescue, bush care cleanups. But very quickly, I realized something, and I'm sure all of you guys know what I'm about to say. I was always the only young person there. But on Instagram and social media, young people are so passionate about the environment. So how can we make some change? Then we have the other demographic of young people that just aren't connected to nature. They're not spending time outside. But then we expect society and young people to protect our planet moving forward. It was year 11, it was my business assessment. Struggling, what am I going to do after school? Don't want to go to uni, don't know what I want to do. Other kids came up with ideas like beauty salons and clothing brands for their project. And I said, hey, I want to create a national community for young people to once again explore nature, to connect with community, and be a part of protecting our planet. I knew that if we can empower young people right across the country to take local, tangible action, but take administrative, funding, OHS burdens off them, then something powerful could happen. I always say that if we had 50 to 100 young people in every major town and city across the country, maybe attending a cleanup once a month, or a tree planting, or just getting out hiking, imagine the environmental and educational impact that could be had, but also the social impact. Thousands and thousands of young people in community, out of depression, anxiety, isolation, building their capacity, their leadership for the years to come. But the big question that people ask, how do we make community conservation attractive for young people? Well, we said we just need to go back to basics. The number one thing is how can we get more young people back outside, connected to nature? How do we turn a surface passion for the ocean into protecting the ocean? How do we turn a young person's passion for fishing into protecting marine ecosystems? How do we turn a young person's passion for camping and hiking into wanting to protect their local areas? So we went on a journey. And 6 months after I graduated school, I registered a charity and spent the next 6 months building a brand, recruiting a team across Queensland. How do we get young people hiking, on campouts, retreats, and then empowering them to build relationships with community and others, and then want to be a part of protecting our planet? 2023, in January, we launched officially. That year was our first year of events. We ended up engaging 200 people that year across 24 events. And for us, that was huge. 2024 was shaping up to be a big year. I was working full-time doing marketing and ops in a snake catching company. Lol, I know, very different. And I knew that there was something happening, that the momentum was building, but this was going to take some commitment. It needed funding, needed a lot of time, but there was something in it. The Landcare space needs us. The planet needs us. We started a Perth team. I headed over to Perth, and it was January of 2024. And I was walking down the CBD of Perth, never been there before, and I got a call. Got a call from a lady, and she said that she was from a foundation. And young, oblivious, I got off the call, and she asked me to send through some information on our strategic plan. They said they wanted to collaborate and partner. And I'm thinking, guys, we've got someone to do a beach cleanup with us. 6 months later, we were awarded a $500,000 partnership to turn our side hustle project into a staff-led operation to scale to set it up for success. At the end of last year, we ended up doing 120 community events across the country. We launched 8 local collectives and engaged 1,800 people. Little did I know that the Vincent Fairfax Family Foundation was one of the biggest supporters and backers of young people in Australia, and we're so grateful for that. I was able to quit my full-time job, go full-time on Coexist, hire staff, young people to do marketing and admin and fundraising, and the momentum was growing. Something special was happening. We critiqued our model. We experimented and consulted with our young leaders. How do we best engage young people in your community? Then support you in creating the impact with the limited time that young people have. We're now nearing the end of 2025, and we'll host 200 events this year, creating impact in 12 locations around the country. A team of 50, led by a staff leadership team and an executive of 15, and over 35 young people in leadership roles. We planted over 23,000 trees, cleaned up nearly 4 tons of rubbish, and engaged a lot of young people. And for us, this isn't just an environmental impact. We want to build community. We want to help young people find what they're passionate about, be empowered to create change, and also have just as much social impact as we are environment. Our staff team supports these young leaders. We take all of the burden off them so they can just do what they're passionate about. Be out there in the community, creating and holding the space for young people to explore, connect, and protect. We look after admin, fundraising, governance, and all of those things so that we can just create impact out there. And often, that is quite a barrier for young people, is they don't want to be running committees and, doing grant writing. They just want to go out and have fun. But then also, how can we also support the young people that do want to do governance and leadership stuff? So that's where we hire them as staff. If I can send one message today, it is that young people can and are creating incredible impact around the country. In Coexist, in James's group, Waddle, in Melbourne, and Annette and her team at Intrepid Landcare. I want to invite everyone today on this mission. Whether you're young or old, we all have a role to play. And if I, expelled from 6 primary schools, can do what I've done and what we've done, then anyone can do it. To the older generation in the room, get behind young people. Support us. Give us resources. Give us money. We need funding. If we've been able to do what we've done with such a small amount of money, imagine what we could do with significant funding. Imagine the struggles that the Landcare scene is seeing. Imagine if young people were supported how they needed to be. A lot can happen. We need to make the shift. We genuinely have an opportunity to lead the way globally in youth-led conservation. An opportunity to connect thousands of young people back with nature, not just having an effect on the planet, but also the well-being of young people. I want to close today with inspiring you, hopefully, with some of the stories of a couple of our young people. Hannah, who's in the room today, studying environmental management. She was struggling with the doom and gloom environmental news, wanting to get involved in local action, but also be surrounded by young people. Was driving home from work and heard Coexist on Triple J radio. She then drove 2 hours to her 2 hours to her nearest event, and a year later, she's now running our Brisbane group, our Brisbane collective. Sam from Melbourne, who was running workshops in high schools around eco-anxiety, but very quickly realised that we need to turn this anxiety into action, but there wasn't many opportunities for young people to actually get involved. So he launched our Melbourne collective, which is now one of our fastest growing collectives. Charlie, who's here today, one of our first official volunteers 3 years ago, who was studying at university and wanted to get involved. She emailed me 5 times before I replied. Now, 3 years later, she's right by my side leading our national operations, working part-time as a paid employee. And wow, she's doing a great job. Really appreciate you, Charlie. Matt, a 21-year-old from Perth, who's no longer with Coexist, but was with us for 3 years. And this is what I want you to take away. A young person that wasn't passionate about conservation at all. He calls me a greenie. But he loved surfing. He loved his local beaches, but was sick of seeing people just litter it and trash it. So he started our Perth group. No previous passion, experience, involvement in conservation. Now, our biggest community in Coexist, and their recent event had 100 young people turn up. Take away something from that message. Do we need to change our thinking? Are we sending a message across to young people that's too negative? Or do we just need to get young people back outside again and take them on a journey to then protect the places that they love? The planet needs us, our communities needs us, and Landcare needs us. The dedicated Landcarers across this country won't be here forever. It's a fact. And we need to ensure that young people are getting back to nature, enjoying it, loving it, and being a part of protecting it. We need young people to look back in 20 years' time and remember the fun that they had at Coexist events, at Wattle events, at Intrepid events, and think, wow, I want to join my local Landcare group because it's what I was doing when I was younger. And I know that that is such a good thing to do in our world. We're building the future of community conservation. This is succession. It's critical for our planet. The young people of today is the population of the future. And the future is now. I'm full of hope. I hope you are too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, brother. And once again, single. Just see if we didn't get that on the table. What a legend. One more big round of applause for Kurt, guys. What a story. I'd now like to invite to the stage Doug Human. Perfect, I said it right. From Landcare Australia to come share a few words.
I've got a whoop down there, that's fantastic, because earlier Costa got a whoop and I just got polite applause. Look, I just want to pick up on some of the themes that those excellent speakers have provided you with a perspective from Landcare Australia, and before doing that, just acknowledge the fantastic welcome to country from Max, who we'll see again tomorrow, and I'll say more about that tomorrow, but how critical that is. Recognising that this is starting the conference. This NextGen Summit, and I'll mention the First Nations event today as well in a moment, are starting the conference. And I think about what Costa remarked about how this evolved, coming from conversations, a presence at the last conference, a working group, and getting you all in the room today from all over Australia. And the key thought that comes to mind from a number of those presentations, and what I want to say, is that we're all evolving. Landcare as a movement nationally is only 35 years old. I I think Intrepid is for people up to 35 notionally. So think of that. There's only one generation of land carers that has evolved since we started the Landcare movement nationally. There's something in what we're doing here for everyone. And what we at Landcare Australia want to impress upon this room is that there is power in your hands today. These conferences are critical. They're not, well, there's no other conference in our sector that brings together this many people. If our sector is the environment sector generally, rather than the agricultural sector specifically, this is big, and it is a big opportunity. You don't often get two ministers of the Commonwealth coming into a room to be part of what we're doing. You have the chance here today in your conversations, in your listening, as Costa spoke of, in your talking, in your thinking, to bring ideas that come to the conference and to the powers that be. You've already done it this morning through the presentations. So I just embolden you and encourage you to have those conversations and know that you're going to be listened to. This is a genuine part of what we do at Landcare Australia, to engage with all people and particularly with younger people. Your opinions genuinely matter. We are all evolving as individuals, as organisations, and as a sector. And with the issues that face us today, there's no more need than today to make changes and get things right and better for future generations. Personal development and career development are cornerstones of ensuring a bright, prosperous and happy life for you, for myself, for Landcare. I've got 3 kids in their 30s, and I know that nothing matters more to them than getting up every morning and feel that they've got a place in the world, that they've got friendships and they've got people they want to be with to do things that matter for this planet. And I think if we have that sort of sentiment in the room today and working in the Landcare community, we can make a huge difference to the numerous issues that we've brought to bear on this planet, particularly in the last 250 years. I won't go through them because like Kurt, I do have hope, and I'll speak about that a little more tomorrow as well. Thank you, and thank you, Lindsay, for your words and your introductions. Thank you all for embracing First Nations knowledge and respecting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, who we know have cared for country much longer than any of us or our forebears. Right now, as I speak, the First Nations Landcare gathering is taking place just nearby, and it started in the same framework as this 2 years ago, exactly the same framework, such that we now have a First Nations Landcare working group, which has, with Mel and others, organised the event today. They too will be coming back into our space over the next 3 days to communicate, like you, what you have been talking about. All strength to your individual and collective arms. We want to hear from you. I want you to go up to my fellow board members. One of them's in the room, Naomi, Intrepid Landcare founder. You need to speak to us. We need to listen to you. We need to speak with each other. In closing, I have thank yous as well. I do want to acknowledge the Victorian Government, Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action. Are they in the room, Mel? Hi. Trust her, she's from the government. And she brings us this event. Yvonne, thank you. Thanks to the program committee, and I hope I don't miss anyone out, and some of them I'm pleased to call friends. I haven't seen Haven't seen Jaden in the flesh for 4 years, I don't think. Back in, remember COVID? Yeah, I had it a couple of weeks ago. Annette, Kurt, Jaden, Sophie, Marnie, Patrick, Lindsay, Millie, I know some of you, but what I do hear from our team at Landcare is that you've been fantastic with your time, your passion, your energy for bringing this event together. So thanks to them. Thanks. Costa, what can I say about Costa? Not a whoop in the room, Costa. Costa is our Landcare youth ambassador. More importantly, Costa is a great human. I know that because I'm one. That's a pun on my name. And he is a great ambassador for the Landcare community. Thank you, Costa, for your words, your energy. If half the energy of Costa comes out by the end of today, you've done well. I'll just close and say we're really proud to be working with you. What we're doing today is important to what we do in the future. I really look forward to what is happening. I have to go off to, I don't have to, I want to, and I have to, go off to the First Nations event. But I want you to have a really fun day. Enjoy yourselves, your friendships. I can see the enthusiasm in the room. Thanks very much.
One more big round of applause for Doug. Hey. Beautiful words. I love that notion of, again, echoing that connection, not only to each other, but also to country and the land and our Indigenous brothers and sisters out there that have been caring for this country for over 60,000 years. It reminds me of an old law story that I got very graciously shared with me from an uncle out on country of the gum tree. And in language, in Yuggurapul language of Ipswich, Boona, that sort of way, the gum tree's name is Jumbal. And this, I'll spin it's a big yarn, but I'll save that. But the message of the story is that just like the gum tree, just like the kangaroo, just like us, at the end of the day, we're all made up of the same things. We're all made up of just dirt and water. I'm sure it might be a bit of a different mix if you're a chemist, but like, essentially we're all made of the exact same substance, the exact same beings, but we're all connected, not just as humans, but to the nature, to the land, to the animals, all of it. We're all the same. Because we're the same, we've got obligations to one another. I don't need to tell you guys in the room that we've got the obligation. You guys get that, right? We're Landcare, right? But this is where it comes from, right? We're all just dirt and water. We're all made up of the same things. We all carry the exact same spirit. So it's awesome to see you all here and awesome to acknowledge our Indigenous brothers and sisters that walk this journey and have been walking with that notion of connection and spirit since time began, basically. Anyway, I'll stop my rambling. We've got a loaded schedule today. There's a lot going on. But before we really push through into that, we're going to get a big group photo, I think. So I'll invite James, our photographer, up. Yep, cool. I'll let you guys do the photography work. And
Quite a long room, so I'll start off to the left, so it kicks off on the left to begin with. And then we'll take a photo of the middle and then the right. Whenever everyone's ready.
okay, maybe like a little bit of energy in the photo, guys. I know no one likes getting photographs, but like, this is cool. Thank you, Costa. Yeah, let's do Costa. Everyone do your best Costa impression. All right, middle section. Energy, high. There we go. All right, right side, energy, lift.
3, 2, 1.
And then I might just get a panorama as well for our
All right. Pano time. Energy, Mexican wave style. We're going to Mexican wave energy through the room here. There we go, there we go. It's coming around, Mexican wave. Sweet. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, photography team, legends. All right, that's the end of our first session. That's my turn on the microphone done. I'm going to handball the microphone responsibility to my brother Patrick here, who's going to come up and lead us through our second session. So thank you all, and we'll see you later.
Thank you, Lindsay, and welcome to our second session for the NextGen Landcare Summit. One of our core values for our NextGen Landcare Summit is inspiration, and there is no shortage of inspiration in this room right now. From the outside, somebody may think Landcare, it's just all about planting trees and restoring our natural habitats, but it's far more than that. The very heart and soul of Landcare is people. And I'm sure you will all agree that people involved in conservation and landcare are not only the most passionate people you can find, but also the most compassionate, giving a voice to not only animals, but also the flora and natural landscapes that do not have a voice of their own. Landcare is a community. Over the last 10 years, Intrepid Landcare have been doing an incredible job of creating a community of young people all across Australia, giving them a platform and a voice to address local environmental issues that matter to them. I'd now like to welcome Chris, Alex, and Megan to the stage to share their journey over the last 10 years of Intrepid Landcare.
I do. Okay. So, hello. 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 This is on, right? Yeah. Okay. I'll just stand here. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Megan. I'm one of the original co-founders of Intrepid Landcare. And I've got 5 minutes to share 10 years of our journey, so this will be very quick. But I just want to say, if anything resonates with you or you want to know more, I'm at the conference for this week, so please come and have a chat. But how do we start? I got a random phone call in 2014 from a woman named Naomi Edwards, and basically that conversation started like, hey, you don't know me, but I've been stalking you on Instagram for the last few years, and I have this idea. So at the time, I was a Landcare coordinator. I had been running Illawarra Intrepid Landcare since 2009, so I was about 5 years old at that time. And like many people in this room, and we've heard this morning, is there was this big calling from the Landcare movement to get young people involved. From my community, which was the Illawarra region on Dharawal country, and then as I went out to regional forums and national conferences, it was like I was often one of the very few young people in the room, and there was always this ambush almost of, where are other young people? Why aren't they getting involved? And I kept on sort of thinking about this, and I was like, wow, I've benefited so much from being a part of this movement. Why aren't there more young people here? Because it's such an inspiring thing to be part of and is having such a big impact on landscapes around this country. And so I set up the group, and the idea was to go around to existing Landcare groups and support them with their projects and value add. But at the same time, it was about inviting young people to come together and have a social interaction, go and connect to nature in different ways, in playful ways, where we were building deeper relationships with places. And over time, we connected with more groups around the state of New South Wales, and I think by then we'd done 80 different projects with all sorts of different organisations, national parks, Landcare groups and other conservation organisations. And those projects were so diverse and so rich, and we were connecting with this really experienced network of existing volunteers. So it was just such a beautiful experience. And Naomi had been doing something similar on the Gold Coast in Coast Care. And as we got talking, we realised, wow, we've been in quite a privileged situation here in our careers. We're both working in the sector, so we had access to instant networks, people to collaborate with. We knew how to write grants, we knew how to coordinate projects, but so many other people didn't have those skills. And so we started questioning, how do we empower young people to develop those skills and networks really quickly? And she had this idea, and it was backed by Landcare Australia at the time with some funding. I think we had $5,000. It was a very small budget, but she had this idea to bring together young people over 2 days and fast track those connections and skills through a leadership retreat. So we did a pilot project on the Gold Coast. I think we had 12. Was it 12 young people showed up? I think there's one. Is there one? Oh, yeah, no. Well, I can't count. So 12 young people showed up. We coordinated with the local Landcare group who were just like, yes, let's just make this happen. And we gave them the tools, the connections. We went out into nature. We had conversations about conservation initiatives happening, because what we noticed was Landcare was very invisible to this generation. People just didn't know it existed. So there was a real brand awareness thing, but there was also an opportunity to build relationships through these experiences. And we didn't know what was going to happen. We did project design, we had really deep and meaningful conversations, we had fun. And after that retreat, it blew us away what young people came up with and the projects they went and then delivered. And so we were so inspired by that, we were like, we really would love to do something with this. So we set up Intrepid Landcare as a national organisation. So we could go and share these retreat experiences to start with in other communities who also wanted to back young people's leading in their communities. And so we realised we absolutely cannot do this alone, so we had to build a team around us, and some of these original people are in the room. Peter Piggott, I'd like to acknowledge, one of our original board members. And so we set up this team that existed across the country. And the thing we really invested in when setting up this team was setting up a really strong culture within the organisation to stay accountable across, I think it was 4 states and territories we existed at that time. We needed to have good integrity around running our projects. We needed to stay connected and supporting each other. We needed to work out how we would deal with conflict when it came up. And when people started to drop off, how do we stay motivated and having fun? And I think that really set the foundation for a strong organisation, and it's something that's flowed through for 10 years today, and we've got the beautiful leadership team we do here today. And part of that team, we really invested in reflecting on the way we did work together, but also how we worked with communities. And there was this piece around constantly listening deeply to young people and their needs, as well as the community's needs. So we started running more leadership retreats around the country, but we also ran youth engagement workshops for communities, so they were self-sufficient in supporting young people in their communities. And we also invested in setting up a network of the beginnings of a network that supported young people who were already running projects. So this is a shot from one of our leadership retreats, and part of the leadership retreats were about really focusing on that intergenerational connection. So we'd invite leaders from the community in Landcare to come and meet these young, passionate people who wanted to lead change in their communities, and then we would work together to co-design projects, as well as working with First Nations communities to even deepen even more our connection to country and the way we relate to place. So that was really foundational. And in all of this, we continued to build resources for the community. So they became things we put on our website so people could access, and that our communities, as they built, could become self-sufficient. But also, if other people who were not part of Intrepid Landcare wanted to tap into what we'd learnt, they could, so that it kept growing. And I would like to hand over to Chris.
I would just say it's a really hard act to follow. Hello, my name's Chris. I was formerly the Vice Chair of Intrepid Landcare as part of Gen 2 of the board. So Gen 2 started in, skip that one. Gen 2 started in about 2020. and I think we all remember what happened in 2020. So beyond just being invited to take over and to continue, man the helm of an organisation that has created so much impact around Australia within that 5-year period prior to that, it was a time for us. It was really exciting as new board members, but also incredibly terrifying, almost so much as speaking here in front of you all now. But I guess, look, trying to take over from them and sort of continue to push the movement forward and really engage young people, that was a big task. And I suppose for us it was a bit challenging because we didn't have quite the experience that the previous board did. And so the first thing we actually went about doing was establishing what we call our Wisdom Council. So we actually are very fortunate that some of the original board members hung around in informal capacity and as mentors, so that we could reach out to them whenever on WhatsApp or via email, phone call, you name it, and just ask for advice on how to go about things. But I guess the biggest thing was that in 2020 we also had COVID, followed by cost of living, followed by rental crisis and a lot of other things. And so it was very difficult to be able to maintain our momentum in the capacity that had been done up to that point. So we couldn't do face-to-face meetings. We couldn't fly across the country. We had trouble finding funding. So what we then did is, as the board, is we, as we always do, we stick our heads together and we had a chat about what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. And I suppose we focused more on building what the previous board, the founding board, had started to set up. And so this took, over the next 5 years, we really sort of worked hard to actually build upon a lot of the core resources and documents that they had actually put together. So the co-design, the tool for co-designing community and wiser action, and the tips and ideas and tricks to support young people to make change. Okay, and from those we actually developed a couple of resources. Big ones being the Do Stuff That Matters journal, which is a cool little resource that helped young people sort of jot down some of the things that they wanted to do and start to actually flesh out some ideas for some projects they wanted to work on. And following on from that, the Where To Next guide, which these are all freely available on our website, guys. But we provide these to everyone. And we've actually been fortunate that a lot of this has actually been provided or is supplied in school curricula as well too, like in Victoria. But I guess the idea here is to sort of create, to continue to create self-sufficient communities that are doing the stuff that matters on the ground and doing the stuff that matters to them. Each of our communities or groups across Australia is different. They do different things. Brisbane Intrepid Landcare we'll hear from in a moment. They started off doing Landcare, but now they do a lot more bioballistics and science projects and a bit more informal professional development. Down south, a lot of our groups down there in Melbourne and around Sydney and ANU do a lot more traditional planting and also social gatherings. So there's really no one size fits all, but I guess one of the other key things which we really established after that was really developing a cross-country community in which we could actually directly engage with leaders within all of our groups across the state, and we regularly catch up with them, get feedback from them, and constantly asking them, how can we best support you guys to do what you want to do and the stuff that you see as being important to you. And as part of that as well too, we further developed a lot of our relationships and partnerships. Coexist Australia, which part of this today is actually brought to you by that collaboration, and with Landcare Australia as well too. Just earlier this year, we actually helped a lot of 5 of our groups apply for grant funding to do tree plantings for the endangered glossy black cockatoo. So we had 5,000 trees put in within the space of a month across 5 different groups. And more recently, we've actually sought assistance and help from 180 Degrees Consulting to help us identify additional ways, a bit out of the ordinary in terms of trying to source some funding to help support some of those local groups. Okay, so I guess we are all about support. We don't want to be prescribing or telling people, these local groups, how they should go about doing it, because they have their ideas, they know their communities the best, and we want to support them to do that and build their communities and build their leadership capacity. And as an example of that, we have Alex here who will actually give us a chat about what's happened in Brisbane.
Hi everyone, and look, thanks Megan and Chris, that was awesome. It's so good to see where the national body, started and where it's become, to date. So, my name's Alex, I am from Brisbane Intrepid Landcare. A lot of what we do is similar to the national body, but on a local level, it's so much more exciting, sorry. No, there are a lot of differences, and on a local Landcare sort of point, there are a lot of differences as well. So this is us. This is some of our retreats that we do. We do all sorts of environmental activities from citizen science or ecological events and assessments, and it's a really good way to just bring the local community, whether it's from Brisbane, we sometimes have people from Gold Coast or Logan or even Sunny Coast, but in short, it is quite local and bringing, that local community, that local youth together. So what else is Bill? So it's more than just environmental conservation. We provide on-ground support to other Landcare groups. So one of our main Landcare groups was B4C, and we worked with them and still do to date for many, many years. And on that, we've also worked with private landholders as well. More recently, we've actually moved into national parks, which has been an awesome experience, a massive learning curve, but it's provided so much more experience and new ideas to expand ourselves as well. One of the big things is bridging that generational gap, which Costa did mention as well, and I'll talk about a little bit more going forward in this presentation, but a big thing we work on is skills and also experiences. It's about making Landcare accessible, social, and impactful, and one of the things I haven't put up there, it's about making it fun, because that's kind of what it's about at the end of the day as well. In regards to leading beyond conservation, again, it's not just about environmental conservation. Brisbane Intrepid Landcare really tries to focus on the social gatherings and also environmental events also. So whether it's a fun random rock climbing event or we go to dinner as a group, we've found that this is better than any icebreaker as it allows people from the local community to, let their guard down, introduce themselves, and just learn and be more personal with each other. And then as we move into these environmental events, we find that people are so much more efficient and effective when it actually comes to the work side of things. In regards to the actual events, we worked with Greening Brisbane events and also within Logan as well. And it's an awesome opportunity for us to get out there, talk to other youth as well, and not just learn from them, but they can learn from us. Another massive thing is leadership within Brisbane Intrepid Landcare, and it's one of the main things that we've really tried to push. So whether it's taking on little workshops or, like myself, I was very shy and started off doing little bits and pieces in Intrepid Landcare and eventually actually started leading Brisbane Intrepid Landcare as a whole. Another big thing is careers. So I know for myself, it's helped me through my career as time's gone on, but one of the most rewarding things is we have past members and also current members who have come up to us and said that Brisbane Intrepid Landcare has really made such a massive difference to their lives. So it's not just on their careers, but also their personal lives also. And seeing how that helps on that local level is, really rewarding for ourselves and everyone else. Now, in regards to, there's a big social and cultural gap that often does exist between generations in the environmental space. So what does that actually mean and where to kind of from here? So Brisbane Intrepid Landcare creates a space where these gaps are being actively bridged. We've found that young people, and as already mentioned, young people bring energy and fresh perspectives and new ideas, which really brings that new energy into a workplace. But as Costa mentioned as well, it's not, there is an older generation, but they were once youth also. But with this knowledge, they are able to bring deep local understanding and knowledge and are able to share that with us. And what we've found is by bringing these two together, by creating this power coupling, really not just improves catchment groups and that sort of thing, but also improves organisations as a whole. Now, together we're not just only regenerating land, we're regenerating leadership, culture, and connection on a local level. Now, guys, as mentioned, there is so much. It's 10 plus years of Intrepid Landcare and many years of Brisbane Intrepid Landcare. Please come up, have a chat to us. We'd love to, share our knowledge and learn from you guys as well. Other than that, have an amazing time at the rest of this conference, and yeah, chat soon.
I will say one more thing. Over the last 10 years, Intrepid Landcare has helped build more than 30 groups around Australia. And this year, our very first Intrepid-inspired group in Japan. We're having amazing impact.
Thank you, Megan, Chris, and Alex, for sharing the story of the past 10 years of Intrepid Landcare. What an inspiring story. Intrepid Landcare is now helping to foster and lead the way in youth conservation and landcare involvement. I'd now like to welcome up a local landcare legend from Victoria. He was originally in the construction industry, but then moved into landcare. He's helped to co-design and lead koala surveys in Western Victoria. He is the president of Seedlings Victoria and also the leader of his local landcare group. Can I please welcome Jackson Cass up to the stage?
G'day everybody, I'm Jackson Cass. I'm the coordinator for Marooba Catchment Landcare. Not the president, but that's okay, we'll work on that. I am the president of Seeding Victoria, which is the largest native seed bank in Western Victoria. And I won't go too much into that past year. That's the name of my presentation, awesome. Before we start, I'd just like to give a bit of a background of myself. So I completed my Diploma of Conservation and Land Management in 2019. While I was studying, I also completed a lot of volunteering with my local landcare group in Garibaldi Landcare. So Garibaldi's just south of Ballarat, which is where I live. It's very cold there. I'm quite clammy today up here in Gold Coast. I then became the treasurer of Garibaldi Landcare in 2020, which I did for a couple of years. I then moved into a board position with Seeding Victoria. I joined the board 1 year. The next year, I fell into vice president. The next year, the president left, so I fell into president. It's really not a romantic story about how that happened. And I've been the coordinator of Marooba Catchment Landcare since October 2020, and I've been there since now. So that previous slide was what's on my resume. This is what's not on my resume. So I finished high school in 2014 with an average ATAR. I needed a 65 to get into my course. I got a 65.1, yes. Originally, I actually studied audio engineering and sound production, which I still love to do, but it's not my work. I actually dropped out of completing that degree while I was doing that. And once I dropped out, I started working full-time with my father in the construction industry, re-stumping houses. For people that might not know what re-stumping is, the best way I can describe it is crawling underneath the house and digging holes. That's what it is. It's hard work. And I guess I was always interested in the environment and conservation and climate change, but I just didn't know where I fitted into it or how I could actually contribute to that. And I knew I didn't want to always be re-stumping houses full-time, so I had to look around at what jobs were available, NRM jobs, SEEK, all that stuff, and realised that the qualifications for the jobs I was interested in really aligned with what the diploma was offering at the time at Federation University. So I had the conversation with my dad that I was leaving the family business to go back and study full-time, and I began studying in 2019 while also volunteering a lot with Garibaldi Landcare at the time. And it was really that time with Garibaldi Landcare that impressed upon me how important that intergenerational knowledge sharing is in that entire process. I was more often than not, the youngest person in the room, and you get kind of used to that, but it really is an amazing thing to be a part of. I just wanted to contribute to the betterment of our natural environments, and that's still what inspires me today. When I did transition into the industry, there was a few different challenges that I faced, and it's probably a lot of things people are familiar with, and I still face these challenges today. It's competitive. It's very competitive for the few paid positions that are available. It's mostly underfunded. There's not enough funding invested to create consistent and meaningful change for the environment. Learning curves, there's a lot that isn't taught to you in tertiary education. It's hard to find information about, where it can even get started, where to find volunteer opportunities. There's no obvious career pathways. There is no one-size-fits-all pathway into achieving paid work or volunteer work in the industry. And if you talk to anyone here, I'm sure they'll tell you that as well. And no network. So starting in a completely new industry with no network is extremely challenging. So I guess when I was transitioning, volunteering, I was really encouraged by my lecturers to get involved in volunteering, and that allowed me to build up my career capital, having no prior experience. And then transitioning into paid work was what really helped me there. Yeah. So along the way, I have had the opportunity to be a part of some pretty cool things, and I just wanted to point out 3 of them, which I think are particularly cool. And hopefully it can just give you an idea of what can happen, really. So 3 of them are the National Koala Monitoring Program, the Mirrabel Catchment Restoration Program, and the Seed Pod Program. So the National Koala Monitoring Program, or NKMP, is a national koala monitoring program, as you can imagine. And it's going all the way from the north of Queensland all the way down to Victoria and across to South Australia. And it aims to deliver robust population estimates and build long-lasting capacity in people to monitor koalas. We're delivering a local project and just outside of Ballarat and Mirrabel area, which we have been for the last 4 years, partnering with Wadawurrung traditional owners, Landcare, Parks Victoria, a lot of public land managers. And we've been doing things like line transects, drone surveying, acoustic monitoring, AI stuff, and also incorporating First Nations knowledge into that. And it's been incredible to be a part of the program. I've learnt a lot, met some incredible people, and even spotted a few koalas as well. And thanks to that, we now have a better understanding of how koalas are doing locally, while also contributing that information to the national estimates. If you do want to know more about that, you'll have to come to the presentation that I'm doing with Max Deutscher, who's a Wadawurrung man, and also Kayu Nito tomorrow at 12:45. The Mirrabel Catchment Restoration Program is a $350,000 waterway restoration program that's been delivered by Mirrabel Catchment Landcare that aims to improve water quality and riparian habitat of the Mirrabel River and its tributaries. And we've been doing this for the last year and a half. Barwon Water, who's the local water corporation out of our way, gave our Landcare group the opportunity to submit a proposal. They didn't really give me a lot to work on that. They just said a proposal. I said, okay, cool. It took me nearly 9 months to complete, but that final proposal was accepted by Barwon Water, and it's been led entirely by Landcare, with support from the CMA underneath us. I'm still trying to figure out why they trusted a 27-year-old with $350,000, but I'm quite happy they did, because that means I have a job, so I'm very happy for that. The Seed Pod program. So this is a slight synergy or conflict, depending on your perspective, between my roles at Seeding Victoria and Mirrabel Catchment Landcare Group. So I mentioned before, Seeding Victoria is the largest native seed bank in Victoria, and supporting ecological restoration across all of Victoria, or about 50% of Victoria, supplying high-quality, provenance-based native seed. We're a registered charity, and we employ 3 part-time staff and have a volunteer board, of which I'm fortunate enough to be a part of. And the Seed Pod program is aiming to address native seed supply issues by building capacity in Landcare groups to collect, store, and process native seed, and then using that seed in environmental restoration projects as well. So it's increasing the amount of native seed that is available for environmental restoration activities, while also diversifying and building capacity in Landcare groups and diversifying income streams, because we actually make money doing this. It's crazy. And with that, we hope that the program can be used as a model for other Landcare groups, addressing native seed supply issues, diversifying income, and putting Landcare at the forefront of it all. If you'd like to discuss that more with me, please feel free to come and have a chat. I'm trying to fly through this a little bit because I think we're a bit over time. But there are a few things that I've learnt that have helped me. I don't know if it's useful to you, it might be. But first one is cultivating a network. So far in my career, I've found that everyone is in this industry for the right reasons. And most of the time they'll do anything they can to support you. They won't do the job for you, but they can encourage you and point you in the right direction. I'm very fortunate for the network that I have, some of which I inherited when I started my position, and some of which that I've cultivated as well. Connect and contribute. Find causes that you align with and contribute to them. Volunteer your time, contribute your unique skill set, and I'm really encourage anyone here to join a committee. If you think that you're going to walk into a committee meeting as a young person and you're not going to leave without a position, you'll be surprised very quickly how you'll be leaving with something to do. And it's an important thing to do. I really encourage anyone to do it. Doing the work. You will get asked to do hard things, but that's okay. Doing hard things is how we make some pretty amazing things happen. Don't be afraid to fail. I've done it a lot. And just ask for help when you do need it. Be yourself. Your unique combination of skills and experiences is an asset. Much like biodiversity, diversity of people is a good thing to have as well. And during your travels, just don't compromise yourself or your own values. If you manage to do that, you'll come across as genuine and people will want to work with you. Also, being yourself, it's okay to have a life outside of Landcare, amazingly. And what that looks like for me is that occasionally I dress up as a cowboy and play techno. But that's a different conversation entirely. That's all I'm mentioning on that. You cannot know everything. You cannot and will not know everything. I'm not a specialist. I'm okay at a few different things. But don't let a perceived lack of knowledge stop you from doing something. Just take every opportunity that you can to collaborate with people with other skill sets and ask lots of questions. I'm still yet to be told to shut up for asking questions, and I ask a lot of them. So yeah, please go ahead and do that. Thank you all so much. Thank you for the opportunity. If you see me around, come say good day. Cheers.
Thank you, Jackson, for sharing your pathway and career in Landcare. Some very inspiring work there. Wattle Volunteers is an incredible group that is led by youth down in Melbourne. They help to do some amazing things down there, such as urban rewilding, cleanups, and engaging youth in the conservation space. I'd like to welcome James Henderson, the president of Wattle, so we can learn from his experience in engaging youth in conservation.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. Great to be here and just great to see so many amazing young people who sort of want to make a difference. So today I'll be talking about sort of young voices as well as just breaking intergenerational barriers. Before we begin, for those who don't know, I run Wattle. We're based in Naarm, Melbourne. We sort of do work mainly around sort of urban rewilding. We're only about a year old. But yeah, we've grown so much and I've learned so much in the last year. A bit about myself. I'm an environmental science student doing a double degree in environmental science and environmental policy. And yeah, I guess I'll sort of get started. So, power of young voices. Good news, Gen Z and millennials now make up the largest voting bloc. So our voices do carry weight. And I think that's an overarching theme of today, just small actions creating ripple effects leading to sort of change. I want to sort of touch on what Kurt said earlier, just about how visibility sort of drives that change. Myself, I started Wattle sort of out of frustration. I've been working along the Birrarung or the Yarra River in Melbourne for about 3 or 4 years. Again, like so many of you, was just the youngest person in the room constantly. So yeah, sort of started Wattle just to sort of show people, hey, there is stuff to do here. Like we're in an urban space, but there's still work to be done. So yeah, just having that platform and really showing off, hey, these are cool things that we're doing. These are the spaces that we can change in our urban areas, I think is so important. People want to hear youth perspectives. As Jackson said, go into a committee meeting, you'll leave with a position. It's just incredible how sort of underutilized youth perspectives are, and I think people are, established organisations are really sort of recognising that now. And again, a testament to the NextGen Landcare Summit, just having everyone in a room together to network and share ideas. Collaboration is key, and I do want to share some success stories, some of which are in the room today. So here are some of my favourite stories down in Naarm, Melbourne. We've got Urban Gorillas just on that table over there. Incredible group. We've got Sam and Beth there today. Really, really amazing story of sort of connecting university spaces with Landcare. So from Deakin Uni, rewilding the Kooyong Coot at Gardeners Creek just behind there, really engaging with young people, especially in that university space, Deakin Enviro especially. We also have the Merry Creek Labyrinth, sort of a group that was struggling, especially out of COVID, to sort of engage young people. They approached us, Wattle, and just asked for a hand. And I do encourage any established groups to do that. There are youth networks, and we love working with you guys. I think that intergenerational approach is just so important. So yeah, we've been helping them rewild along the Merry Creek. Yeah, we get about 50 young people most times we're there, and it's just incredible for building place as well. Next up, finding your space. I think, as Kurt spoke to before, there's no one pathway into conservation, and I'm sure that's a theme you'll hear a lot today. Just jump in the deep end. Whether you're sort of an enviro policy person, whether you're a creative, whether you want to dress up as a cowboy and play techno at an event, there's always space there. There is no single right way. We need sort of an approach from all angles, and I just think, yeah, everyone has something to contribute. Alongside that, climate anxiety is real. It's something that we all feel. It's so deep, and just having that community can turn fear into hope. So yeah, I think a problem shared is a problem halved. Really, any action has the power to create meaningful change, and yeah, just working together to achieve something just sort of takes that burden off. Whether it's just sort of going down to a tree planting and realizing, oh, I'm actually not the only person that's feeling kind of overwhelmed right now. It's helped me a lot, and I really encourage everyone to sort of get out there and try it. I've just got some questions to think about. These are sort of what I sort of replayed in my head when looking for a space in the environment movement. Just sort of finding out which local orgs or youth groups align with my interests. Mentorship is really important. I think if you reach out to anyone in the environment space, even just a cold Instagram DM, chances are they're going to respond and have something to say, meet up for a coffee or something. Again, are there any opportunities to combine creativity, advocacy, anything else? I know at Wattle, we're always looking for sort of new ways to engage other groups, not just your environmental cohorts. So yeah, if you're an avid painter, whether that's painting signs for a working bee side, or playing music at a gig to raise money for local Landcare groups. Also, just how can I turn my concerns into a project? Maybe you have concerns, maybe you have a local park that needs a bit of love. Just sort of asking those questions and just getting involved. When I first started Wattle a year ago, it was literally just me and my mates. I had no clue that anyone else would care. So yeah, it's so inspiring, and you really just don't know where it can take you. This is sort of for the more established groups and sort of older people in the room. I have had a talk to a lot of our volunteers, especially just around the barriers facing young people. So I've just sort of compressed them into 5 dot points that I'll talk to now. But I really think these are ways to just make your space more accessible and open to young people. So visibility of opportunities, I think, again, another key theme today. How do we meet young people where they are? Obviously, every group is different. Young people, they occupy spaces like Instagram, TikTok. There's not a lot of overlap there. I know a lot of groups are like, oh, where are all the young people? I post on Facebook every week. I'm sorry, you're not going to find them there. I think it's really just meeting people, where they are. Tokenism, especially being the token young person. I'm sorry, I don't want to make any TikToks. I've made enough. I've had enough. We do have a lot of meaningful change to give as well. Intimidating exclusive spaces was a really big one for me. I think just being open to the idea of having new people join, whether that's hosting an event or a working bee specifically for new people so that they're not as intimidated sort of approaching a new group. I think that's helped us so much, just marketing, hey, look, you don't have to have any experience at all. just come and try it. We're going to welcome you. You're not going to be pushed away. And I think that's a real strength, especially of some of the young groups like Urban Gorillas as well. And sort of as Jackson said, being scared to not know, you're not going to know everything, and that's fine. I think we just need to communicate that to young people. Hey, look, there is a lot of knowledge in these groups. There's so much experience, and it's okay if you don't know that. We are here to guide. We are here to mentor you. So yeah, I've talked to a few of these early. But yeah, shared responsibility, it does build stronger movements, and we need more shared responsibility to sort of get that intergenerational change. So yeah, I think just ensuring the longevity of current projects and having that span across old and new is just so important. So here are my sort of key messages to you all. If you wanted to take them away, I know we're having a networking session soon, so also here for a chat about anything. Yeah, everyone's pathway is different. Youth voices matter. Turning that anxiety into action, as well as just having the strongest change on an intergenerational level. If any of you are ever in Melbourne, Nam, here's our Instagram and contact. Would love to show any of you around the site. It's just on the Birrarung, the Yarra River, so right in the CBD, and we're doing some amazing work. So yeah, happy to chat or connect with any of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, James, for sharing your valuable insights and for all of the work that you do with engaging youth through Wattle. We will now take a break now for morning tea. We'll have a 15-minute break. Please take this opportunity to network, grab a bite to eat, and we'll be back here for 12 o'clock for a discussion panel. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you then.